Hello, welcome to my top 10 most difficult bosses in Elden Ring for the first half of the game, and I thought I would make a list now because then we can compare later on, once I finish the game, which ones still make the list. And there's an emphasis on my top 10 list because I think everybody's is going to be different with different playstyles and different characters. So if you have a different list, make sure to comment down below and let me know what your top 10 or most difficult bosses are in the game. Now we're going to start off with some honorable mentions, and the first honorable mention is this bear in Lernia of the Lakes beside this isolated chair, and he is a really powerful enemy that jumps out of nowhere, so I thought he deserved a mention. The second honorable mention is the grafted scion, which is the first encounter of the game, and I didn't even last 7 seconds in this fight. And the third honorable mention is this ulcerated tree spirit in the Lake of Rot, and I was pretty over leveled by this stage, but he absolutely destroyed me in a very short amount of time, so he also makes the list. Okay, let's start the countdown, and number 10 is Knight's Cavalry, and there's a reason why people fast forward the in-game timer to daytime, and that's to avoid bosses at night like Knight's Cavalry. And I think for most lower leveled characters, particularly under level 50, this is going to be a really difficult fight. Number 9 is Godric the Grafted, and he is the final boss of Stormveil Castle. So one of the factors I considered making this list was how long it took me to defeat the boss, and I don't think Godric the Grafted took me as long to defeat as Margaret the Fell Omen. Once you learn how to beat Margaret, you realize that the game is telling you to read all of the enemy's attacks, and once you do that, the game becomes easier, and a lot of the boss encounters become easier as well. Number 8 is Lich Dragon Fortizax. Now he is one of the more difficult dragons in the game, but I would say not the most difficult dragon. He does have a lot of very wide-reaching area effect attacks, like there's a death attack which can instantly kill you once it fills up your death bar. And he also has a very wide-reaching lightning attack that is very difficult to roll away or run from. And he also, of course, has those very strong melee attacks as well. Number 7 is Dragonkin Soldier of Noxtella. I found him more difficult than the other Dragonkin soldiers, and that's because he's got a lot more moves than the other ones. He has this lightning attack that is very difficult to run away from. He can also fly across to the other side of the screen, which makes it difficult to follow him. So anytime that you want to get close to him, he just flies away. So he makes for a difficult boss. Number 6 is Star Surge Radan, and he is an extremely powerful enemy by this stage of the game. He may not one-shot you, but he can most certainly two-shot most characters. And that means that you have to keep your health bar consistently full. Now the good news is that you can summon a lot of help, and you can also ride your horse as well, which makes it a little bit easier. Number 5 is the first boss battle of the game, the Tree Sentinel. I think most players are going to leave him alone and come back to him later, although I'm sure there are a lot of advanced players who appreciate this boss battle right at the start. I think most new players are not going to be accustomed to the speed of this battle, especially given that the Tree Sentinel rides a horse as well, so I think that also plays a part in how difficult it is. Number 4 is probably the most difficult dragon in the game so far, and that is Decaying, and that is because he spews out a lot of scarlet rot, and not only that, he has this stomp which also has this scarlet rot effect. Scarlet rot meter also fills up very fast, so once that has an effect, it can also stagger and stun your character, which means that it's easy for the dragon to knock you over as well with one of his melee attacks. Number 3 is Margaret the Fell Omen, and this is where From Software put up a bit of a roadblock to Stormveil Castle and made sure that you got a boss where you needed to learn all of its moves. And it's a very well designed beginner boss as well, because he has some very long tells on what moves he's going to do. So after a while, he gives you enough time so that you can read all of its moves, and therefore you know how to preemptively avoid those attacks. Number 2 is the Godskin Noble on the Divine Tower in Lernia of the Lakes, and I found this a really difficult boss fight in a number of ways because he has a lot of moves and he has a lot of range on his attacks as well. He also mixes up his attacks really well, so I felt a bit of indecisiveness when I tried to read his attacks. He also protects himself from behind really well. You can't just circle around him because he's going to get you with that swipe attack, so I feel like he doesn't have that many weaknesses. Number 1 is Valiant Gargoyles, and let me know in the comments below if you thought the same. But not only do you have to fight one of them, you have to fight two. But the second one doesn't come until you've defeated 50% of the first one's health. Now, I found that they were really strong in the mid-range attack and also long range as well, because they can fly around the screen and it can be difficult to chase after them. But not only that, they also have this poison breath, which means that you can't really get near them for a good 15 or 20 seconds. And that becomes chaos when you have to fight two of them at the same time. So it's all about trying to kill the first one as quick as you can. But that's going to be it for this one. I hope you enjoyed my list on the top 10 bosses in Elden Ring for the first half of the game. And if you did, make sure to click the like button and also to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And I'll see you in the next one.